Hello everyone, my name is MrNJersey and welcome to my channel. It's that time for another major update here in Stormworks. This time we have got the new modular engines that have just been released over into the public branch of Stormworks. So in this video we're just going to be doing a quick update, showing you all the new components, showing you how you could actually build these engines. We'll actually go and build a little engine, get it up and running for the first time, kind of show you guys how to get working with these new engines, and this will be followed up with a full tutorial that's going to be released later on in the week. So if you're looking for a full guide on how to use these modular engines, definitely keep an eye on the channel. However, let's have some fun. Let's build with these new modular engines. Now you can see I've got a bunch here of different engines, from outboard motors to small marine engines to massive marine engines to different car engines, all these different types of things, and they're all using one very important thing, and that is going to be the NJ modular engine controller. This thing does absolutely anything from large engines to small ones. It regulates absolutely everything. It does the gearboxes, does throttle, absolutely everything. So that's something really cool, and once again I will be putting that on the workshop, so definitely keep an eye on the workshop and also on some future videos for more information about that controller. So before we get started, let's have a look at all the new actual components that we have with the modular engines. So you can of course jump into your workbench, you can scroll down, and there is the modular engine section where you'll find all the different pieces, from your crankshafts to your cylinders to your drive belts to your alternators to flywheels to temperature sensors, gearboxes, clutches, you name it, it's all here, and it's really pretty cool to play around with these. Along with that, we also have all the new cooling stuff. We have the liquid exchangers, the heat exchangers, the air exchangers, we have the impeller pumps, all these new parts, air scoops, air filters, all these really cool pieces that pretty much allow you to build any type of engine that you want here in Stormworks. So let's actually build an engine, and let's kind of walk through it and kind of understand a few things about this update. Alrighty, so I've just gone and loaded up all the different engines here, and we're actually going to build our own engine. Now, it's actually relatively quite easy to build these engines once you kind of get the hang of it and you know what you're doing. Now, we can build any size engine. I'm just going to go with a 3x3 engine. Let's go and build, I don't know, maybe let's make it let's do three crankshafts here, which will allow us to go and put 3 of the cylinder heads on top of it. Now when we're putting the cylinder heads on, what we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate them like this, so you can see we've got these ports exposed on the outside of the engine. Okay, so that is the crankshaft, and we've also got the cylinder heads on top. Now there's a couple more components that we will need. Of course, we are going to need the drive belt. That will allow us to connect starter motors, alternators, pumps, all these different things onto here, and you'll notice that they actually have little ports that you can go and add those onto, so it's pretty clear on what you should be adding on there. Now along with that, we will need a clutch, so we're going to convert the power from the crankshaft over here into a form that we can use, like a pipe for example. So we're going to be using a clutch. So you can see there we now got a nice little torque output. Now we can actually delete these extra parts that we don't need on there. Okay, so we've got that so far. Now we can add some gearboxes. Now we've got the new gearboxes here in Stormworks. We've got the 1x1, we've also got the 3x3 and the 5x5. So those obviously relate to the different size gearbox that you can have. Now just be aware of it that these gearboxes do handle a different amount of torque. So each one you'll notice handles a different amount. So like for example, the small one handles 1,200. Okay, this one handles 4,000, whereas this one handles 20,000. Now, I'm not too sure if it's in this update or not, but I did figure out that they are doing a few things with the gearboxes where you just need to be a little bit careful of when you change gears. So as I said, I don't know if it's in this update or not. Yeah, I could be wrong. I need to do some more testing. But pretty much with this is when you're changing gears, you want to of course enable your clutch or engage your clutch. That way your power doesn't go through to your gearbox. Then what you're going to do is lower your RPM, change your gear, slowly increase your RPM, and then disengage the clutch, and your power is then going to go through. That way you won't end up breaking your gearboxes. Now once again, as I said, I don't know if that actual whole concept has made it into the branch just yet. I could be wrong. This might be changing. But yeah, really exciting things with these gearboxes. So we're going to add a few on here. Let's add one facing away, and let's do 2 facing towards the engine. So pretty straightforward now. Along with that, we can start actually building the modular engine. Now, every modular engine here in Stormworks will need a few components. You're going to need air, you're going to need fuel, you're going to need exhaust, and you're going to need cooling. Those are the 4 fundamentals when it comes to modular engines. You will not be able to run your engine without one of those 4 things, okay? So just be aware of that. So now we're going to start adding some things on. So let's start with the air. Now you'll notice there is an air manifold. We can simply go and place those on the connecting piece on the actual cylinder heads. So you can place one here, I could place one on every single cylinder. It's up to you. Once again, it's modular. So this is the cool part about modular engines. You can build it however you want to. So let's imagine we got 3 here. We're going to add some fuel manifolds too. So you can see here we've got some fuel manifolds. We're going to let's put 3 down. Okay, so we've got 3 fuel, 3 air. Nice and simple, nice and easy so far. We're also going to need some exhaust, so we can simply go and get some exhaust pieces. You'll notice we have the engine exhaust manifold. We have 2 of them. We have a straight piece and we have a corner piece. We're going to use the corner piece for our example, so let's just go and put some exhaust facing down here. Okay, so there we go, we got exhaust. Now we do need to add some way of getting the exhaust out of that pipe. Now we can use a fluid port, we could use an exhaust piece. There's different parts that you can use. Once again, the whole point of the modular engines is it's modular, so you can build it exactly how you want. Now that we have that, the last thing we need is some cooling. So we can go and add some cooling on. You don't, as I said, you don't have to add these manifolds for the air, the fuel, the cooling, and the exhaust on every single one of these. Once you connect them in a row like I've just gone and done, and you've connected them with the actual manifold pieces, they don't need to actually have their own little pieces on here. So for example, we could actually just have one exhaust if we wanted to. We could have multiple exhausts. As long as you go and connect them up, and you can connect them up once again using the manifold pieces. You'll notice that we have a manifold corner, manifold straight, and a manifold T-piece. So we're going to use the corner piece, and you can see here I'm just going to go and join all of these things together. Okay, that way they can share their fuel, their air, and their exhaust between every single one of the different cylinder heads. Okay, so that is a nice feature, so you don't have to put these intakes all over your engines. Okay, so we've got exhaust, yeah, we've got air, we have our fuel. The last thing we need is some cooling. So let's go and do the cooling. Now I searched for cool, there we go, we got the cooling piece, and let's put it over here. Okay, so there we go, we've got cooling. So we have the 4 fundamental things, but of course we're still missing a few things. We're missing the actual air that goes in here, we're missing the actual fuel that goes in here, and missing the actual cooling part. So let's go and add that on. Now for the air, we could use a multitude of different things. We could use an air scoop, we could use an air ram, we could use a air filter, we could use a fluid port. It's up to us. I'm going to use an air filter, why not? Okay, so we're going to go and put a few of those down. I could connect them up actually, I could do it separately. Once again, modular engines, guys, this is the whole point of modular engines. Let's go and add some fuel. So let's do some fuel, let's do some anchors for fuel, why not? Okay, so we're going to go and place 1, 2, 3 down, and let's go and connect those to some fuel tanks. Okay, you don't have to do that. I could have just gone and connected some pipes, but for our example, why not? Yeah. So we're just going to go and put 3 tanks over here, and we'll get some anchors on them, and we'll get those things connected up. We need a few more things on here. We of course need the cooling setup. Now we could use a lot of different things for cooling. You can use some of the new parts. So we have, for example, the heat exchangers, the air exchangers, the heat and the fluid and the air exchangers. We could use the new radiators. We could use a lot of different things. I'm actually just going to use one of the nice big electrical radiators because I like them. So we're just going to add that on, and let's put that over there. Okay, so that's one of the electrical radiators. I'm actually going to face it the other way around because I want to show you guys something that I want to do. So we got that on there. We need to, of course, go and connect it. Now, ideally, we should have a pump. So a pump that actually is going to be rotating or moving that fluid around. Now, we could use a engine pump that goes and connects over here. So this would probably be the easiest thing for us to do here. We could obviously get one of the impeller pumps, which goes and connects over to the torque. I'm just going to use this one. I think this is probably the easiest one. So you can see there's an in and there's also an out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to get that connected to there, and then we're going to get it connected over here and so on. So we're going to go that's our cooling setup all done now, nice and connected there. We could obviously paint it if we wanted to. So for example, let's go and see. So we get nice cool cool water that is coming, let's say, what's this one? Is this the in? It is, okay. So for example, you have nice cool liquid that's coming out of your radiator over here, as followed by the blue pipes. Okay, it's then going through the pump here, carrying on, then going straight into the cooling part of the engine. It's getting obviously heated up. It's going to come through here, go into the radiator, and then it's going to continue its loop that goes around. Okay, so you can see how that little setup is working. So what else do we need here? Well, we can add some additional things. We could add an alternator if we want. So if we want to produce any electricity from the engine, we could add an alternator on here. We could even add a generator at the back of the engine. So we could go and find a generator and we could add that at the back of the engine. Okay, once again, it's up to us on how we want to build it here in Stormworks. That's the whole joy of these modular engines. Okay, so we've got cooling, we've got exhaust, we've got our air part, we've got our actual fuel, and we've connected all the actual cylinder heads together. And let's just paint that in orange so you guys can see that I've connected all that together. Let's finish the end here. So we've got clutch, gearboxes. We need to, of course, go onto our gearboxes and maybe configure them. So let's go with some different setups here. And there we go. We'll just put a couple different setups. We'll test it later on and see how it works. Coming out of our engine, something that's quite important is that you do actually, or actually it's not that important. You can use a starter at the top here, so you could add a starter on here. I personally don't like to. I just think they're not powerful enough. So I like to use electrical engines instead. So you'll notice that I'm going to go and add, let's say, 2 small electrical engines on the end here, and that will allow me to start my engine up. And that's also how my controller works, is using this to start the engine. As I said, you don't have to do that. You could go and get a starter piece, which goes and connects onto the drive belt at the front, and you could use that to start your engine instead. Okay, so now we got that. Now it's just whatever we want to add. So I'm going to add a propeller at the end, because why not? Let's go and test it. I think that's a little too big. Let's go with a smaller one. There we go. And a nice little propeller. And that's it. We could get more complicated with this. We could get less complicated. We could turbocharge it, supercharge it. We could do all these different kinds of things. And that's once again the joy of these modular engines. Now, as I said, I've got my whole setup already here. So literally all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and select all the parts that I want. I'm going to copy that, and that's what I'm going to use to control my engines. Now, the lovely thing about this controller is it controls the air, it controls the fuel, it controls the electrical engines, the clutch, the gearboxes. It controls absolutely everything. And that's the real joy of it. It also will notice if you have too little air or too much air in your engines, and it will compensate for that. And we'll do some testing later on. And I'll show you guys how this will compensate itself to do that. Another really cool thing about this is it actually does a proper gear change, not just click change gear on here, and then you can probably break your actual gearboxes or your clutch doing that. But what it does is every time you want to change a gear, what it will do is it will lower the RPS, it will engage your clutch, it will switch the gear, it will then initiate the RPS, and then it will disengage the clutch and let power go through. So it's a really smart little controller. And as I said, it pretty much does everything. I've used it on all these different engines. I've used it on my cars, which we're going to go for a drive in a few minutes with. So it's really pretty smart. It also even controls the fans on the radiators, which is really nice. It's also got some manual stuff. You can manually change the gears. You can switch here to a manual gearbox or an auto manual gearbox. You can change the RPS of when it changes the gears. You can change the AFR value, so if you want that down to like 13, which means a little bit more richer engine, or let's go to like 16 and that means more lean engine, it's up to you. We're going to leave it on 14.7 because I like it. It's even got an idle RPS, so as I said, it does everything. Get everything connected, electricity to all the different pieces, not the radiator, but to all the different pieces that we want, so gearboxes and your electrical engines. The radiator gets connected over to my relay, so that tells it to either switch on or switch off. Composite from the engine to our controller over here, and now it's just time to get all this connected. Now you can see here I've just built the engine randomly as I want to. I haven't planned this out, and you're going to see that this controller hopefully is going to just manage everything for us. So electrical engines, get it connected, clutch, there we go. I'm also going to connect the clutch over to my pump that does the cooling, just because I always want the pump to go through. Fuel, let's connect that over to our fuel, there we go. Let's get it connected to our air, there we go. What is this? RPS from my engine. Okay. And this is the seat throttle. Done. Okay. Just like that. Let's go and spawn in it and let's see if it's going to work. So spawn it in, all the other creations. Here is the modular engine we just went and built in a few minutes. All set up, all ready to go here. Let's go and jump on our little control board and let's tell the engine that we want it on. There we go. It's now going and hovering around the RPS that we set it. Okay, you can see there it's turned on. Let's increase the throttle. Cool. There goes the power out. Oh well, I want to change the gear up. There we go, dropped RPS, enable the clutch, change the gear, and then reinitiate everything. Let's go up another gear. There we go. What's our RPS? Oh, we're still climbing, so maybe we can go up another gear. Okay, so you can really play around with this, and oh man, I really have fun playing with all this. And yeah, you can just set everything you want. But yeah, let's do some more tests. So I'm gonna go and get rid of some of the fuel here. Okay, so let's go and get rid of some of the fuel and let's give it some extra air. So we've got 2 air ins and we only have 1 fuel in. Okay, so let's see how this mic controller is actually going to manage it now, because in theory that should have way too much air. Okay, so let's go and turn this on and you can see, look on the controller, it now says too much air on it. But have a look at the fuel. The fuel is actually starting to increase and increase and increase and increase. If we go and pull the throttle up here, take a look at the fuel. The fuel should start to go and increase and increase and increase. And you can see it going up 2,540, 2,570, 2,600. And it's going to increase and increase and until it learns that our AFR should be 14. So if you just give it a few seconds here, wait for it to obviously learn the engine. Okay, so it's just gone just below 20 now. You can see that too much air has gone and disappeared. Our RPS is going to slowly start to increase now as our AFR starts to get lower and lower and lower. As I said, this controller is still a little bit of a work in progress. It's almost 99%, but I might speed up this process because it is taking a little bit long time for this example here. So I might speed up this process and get it to controls AFR a little bit quicker. But you can now see the AFR is down to about 17. There we go. Listen to that engine starting to purr. So we gave it way too much air and it learned what to do. So I really like this. It's going to continue going down to about 14. We can obviously throw some gearbox on that and some more gears and so on and so forth. But yeah, not bad. We're about 54% efficiency. Obviously, the lower we go on the IFR value, the better our efficiency is going to be and so on and so forth. So a lot of fun to play with these engines, and you can hear that gearbox is getting really hit there because we've got no load on the propeller. So yeah, let's go and turn that off. That is a quick little build with the modular engines. You guys saw we just built it there. So what else do we have? Well, I have another small little engine, literally flip switch. It's gonna go and turn on. I've got a little outboard motor, which is a lot of fun. I played with this today, and it's literally just a small little 3-cylinder engine. And this thing is so powerful. I've actually built a boat that has 2 of them on, and the boat is really cool and a lot of fun to play with. So yeah, just a couple different builds. I will be uploading these examples onto the workshop. I'm just going to turn these off, they're very loud. I am going to be uploading these examples over to the workshop at some stage once I'm happy with them and they're all ready to go. As I said, I also will be doing a full tutorial on these engines and showing exactly how to do it. Today was a little bit of just a brief intro, showing you how cool they are. And yeah, look, we got a little engine here. I don't even know how many cylinders this is. I think it's a 6-cylinder. This is a little car here, and then we have another car here, also with a little modular engine built inside it. And these things are really fun, like really fun to play with. Like they change gear properly. And you can see there, we are just going now 150 kilometers per hour, and we're just going for it. So yeah, guys, modular engines, a lot of fun. You can build these engines however you want to build them, small, large, completely up to you. Huge marines, small little car engines, small little outboard motors. You guys saw that, how small that little engine was and how fun it was. But yeah, they really, you know, once you get through the logistics of obviously getting the AFR values and those kind of things set up, once you get past that, and ideally my controller gets past that issue, then yeah, you just have fun with building whatever you want to build here in Stormworks. And you can see this one is just a baby one, bare minimum, got nothing on it, and you can super quick, super quick, nice and stable too. This thing goes off-road, on-road, and lasts forever. You can see, look at the fuel. The fuel's hardly going down. We're keeping a nice battery. We're keeping everything in line. Cooling is really good too. We've got a nice radiator on this, so it shouldn't overheat. We're going off-road now. Let's see how this thing handles off-road. It does really well. It's a little bit low, so it does get caught on a few things. But yeah, the engines are a lot of fun to play with. So guys, I think that's probably a great place to end this video off with. Hopefully you guys have fun with these modular engines. As I said, I will be releasing the controller, the examples, tutorial video on this at a later point. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And I hope you guys enjoy playing with these and building your creations now that we finally have modular engines here in Stormworks. And of course, these will be getting some updates. I think the devs have already said that there are a few changes that are coming in a few days, or today or tomorrow, to these. Some changes with the gearboxes, some cooling changes or temperature changes, so we need to keep an eye on for that one. And of course, now that modular engines are out, means the devs are working on something else. I'm not going to give away any more secrets or anything else, but yeah, really cool. I'm happy about it. I would love to hear your comments in the video description below. Guys, let me know what you think of these modular engines. Are you going to be building with them? What are you going to be building? I'd love to hear your comments. And as always, I hope you have enjoyed my videos and found them somewhat entertaining and informative as always. And until the next one, we'll see you then.